Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ed and I post videos about writing, my writing journey, and hopefully one day about my publishing journey. Before I jump into the video, just a few disclaimers. Please ignore my bangs. I just took a shower and they decided to, just do their thing. Second disclaimer, please ignore the dog barking in the background. It's my boyfriend's parents' dog. He hates me, so he'll probably be barking a lot while I'm recording the video. This is like the only place where I can record the video right now. If the audio turns out to be super terrible, I'll do a voiceover. Finally, if I'm not looking into the camera during this video, it's because I'm reading the script on my computer, just because I didn't want this video to be all over the place. I wanted to make sure that I was passing the right message and I wasn't forgetting anything. So apologies if it triggers you to not have people looking into the camera. That is also something I already do by accident, just because I'm not entirely camera comfortable yet. So I'm sorry for that. So today I wanted to discuss an important topic in writing: how to create believable and realistic characters that sound like real people. If there's one thing that readers dislike, is encountering characters that don't feel like they could exist in the real world. When you pick up a book, you want to feel so immersed in the world you're reading about that the story feels like something that actually happened instead of an imaginary construct. And there's nothing that breaks more that immersion than flat characters. I'll give you an example. Have you watched Fate Winx Saga? Among the many controversies that surrounded the first season of this show, and the many flaws pointed out by the viewers, there's one transgression that people can't forgive: Aisha. Aisha is a character whose sole purpose on the first season of the show is to aid the main character, much like a sidekick, despite the fact that Aisha herself was supposed to be a main character. She has no real personality or presence in the big screen unless it's to provide something for the other characters, like a shoulder to cry, support, or even some brutal honesty. And this lack of depth is painfully obvious when you realize that she has no plot of her own going on. It's almost as if she only exists to make the main plot moving, like a tool, not a person. How do you avoid this? The first thing you need to bear in mind is that we are all main characters in our own lives. We might be secondary characters in someone else's story, or even antagonists, but we all have something going on in our own lives. So if you want to have believable characters that feel like real people and not like plot devices, you need to think of each of your characters as real people. That is to say, everyone needs to have something going on in their lives. It doesn't need to be something major to the point where everyone has a subplot. It can be something quite simple and minor to the point that only you know what is exactly happening. The easiest way to do this, without going insane, is to break each character into 3 key points: a want, a need, and a secret. A lot of you probably already heard about this and is already putting it in practice, but for those who didn't, or those who heard this advice but didn't think it was serious, let me explain. A want is something your character desires but don't necessarily need. This can be a raise at work, for the person they have a crush on to notice them, to be healthy, to travel the world, etc. A need is something the character isn't aware of. It's usually something they get, learn, or discover by accident, but that was missing from their life all along. For instance, a character wants a raise at work because they feel that their potential is not being properly rewarded. What they actually need is to realize they're unhappy doing what they're currently doing, and that no amount of money is enough to make them stop feeling miserable. A secret is something that should be kept from the reader and perhaps even other characters for the majority of the story, that can either agree with the character's want or go against it. It's usually a source of conflict, either between the character and other characters or between the character himself. Here's an example. Thomas is a soldier of the church. His mission is to cleanse this earth of magic and magic users. He's been training since he was a small child, and the organization he serves is quite strict. His want is to impress the church and to be recognized by them as a fine soldier. So when he's ordered to track and murder a colony of magicians, he accepts without questioning. However, Thomas' secret is that he is a magic user himself. This secret agrees with his want. If he wants to survive, he needs to be in the church's good grace. But this secret also goes against his want because it creates internal conflict. How can he kill magic users when he himself is one? Are magic users that bad? Is magic a sin? And it also creates conflict with other characters because it means Thomas needs to hide the truth from the people accompanying him on his mission. And Thomas' need is actually to learn that blindly following authority for the sake of it isn't always the best option. Now, of course, you don't need to do this for every character in your story. This is, however, something good to know about at least your main characters, antagonists, and major secondary characters. It's also important to notice that these don't need to be different for each and every character. Two people can share the same secret, want, or need, or these can overlap or be connected in some way. For instance, Tom's best friend could go with him on the mission, and perhaps their secret is that they know that Thomas is magic himself, but are pretending otherwise. It might sound like something really basic, but these three aspects can really make a character go from a fictitious notion to a realistic person. How? After you know your character's wants, needs, and secrets, you need to keep them in mind when writing. It's not enough to think of them and have them as a general guideline for that character. You need to actively keep those things in mind when writing about them. A character's want, need, and secret can and would, if we were talking about real people, impact their every decision, move, or even thoughts. It shapes the way they see the world and how they connect with people, how they think of themselves, and the choices they make. But this can also mean a lot of different things depending on each specific character's personality. Two people can have the same want in life, but depending on whether they are optimistic or pessimists, rational or irrational, naive or rude, this want might express itself in different ways. This is a whole different layer on building a character, but I just want to leave it here as a reminder that a character is much more than simply a step or two. It's a combination of multiple things that come together to form the end result. So another thing you want to keep in mind when writing is your character's personality. You don't need to make anything too complicated. You can quite literally go online, search personality types, pick one, and base your character on that. Or you can pick 3 adjectives for each character that define them as a person. Or you can even base them on real people that you know in real life, or characters from other creative works that you enjoy. Finally, an important tip to write believable characters is to make them consistent. Their need, want, secret, personality, background, etc. can't be arbitrary. We are who we are in life because of multiple reasons, but those reasons need to exist. You can't go from room A to room B without a hallway. So when you're trying to figure out a character's personality, think first about the background story you gave them. Since we are the result of everything that has ever happened to us, your character's personality must reflect what they went through as children, Their want must be a consequence of something they were lacking, their secret a direct result of their past, and so forth and so on. Lastly, my tip for you is to create character sheets. Don't think you remember every single detail about your characters like I do, because you won't. I don't. You'll end up forgetting, and this can be quite a bummer, especially if at some point you realize a breakthrough or you have a breakthrough about something in your story and end up forgetting about it later. You definitely don't want that to happen. So, write a character sheet. It can be a great source of inspiration or just a guide as you are writing, and it will definitely help keeping your writing more consistent. So this was all I have for you for today. um, I'd really enjoy if you'd engage with me in the comments and let me know if you agree with my tips or not, if you have any additional tips, or just your opinions and process in general in writing characters. What do you do to make them believable characters? Do you follow this method of giving them a want, a need, and a secret? Or do you do this subconsciously but through a different method? I'd really like to know. As always, advice from other writers can and will impact the way we write ourselves. So let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because, you know, I'd really appreciate that. Not that you owe me anything or something like that. But yeah, and I 100% hope to see you next time. Bye.